It all started with a name. Not Lonzo, not LaMelo, not LiAngelo. It started with LaVar Ball, a man who burst into the sports world like a storm, talking louder than anyone, making claims so bold they felt like punchlines. And yet, he never wavered, never backed down. Back in 2016, people didn't know what to make of him.
Going to be, in your opinion, the best player of the three of you when all is said and done?
Each one of them think they're going to be the best. I'll break it down to you.
Okay,
right now,
good, yeah.
Lonzo's the best.
Right now.
Melo has the most potential to be the best on the fact that his body's so big and strong.
I see.
Melo's going to be the best because he gets the most experience.
Was he a genius? A joke? A marketing mastermind? A madman? It depended on who you asked.
We talk about the GOAT here, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, and you running your mouth talking about you gonna beat him one-on-one. Why would you say something so blasphemous?
In my heyday,
blasphemous.
he would need help.
Really?
He's too
Really?
small. His name is big, and y'all like, it was a
And
5-on-5 game, he good. One-on-one, I'm undefeated, never lost.
What we do know is that he was everywhere. One day, he was comparing his son Lonzo to Magic Johnson, but with a jumper. The next, he was standing across from Stephen A. Smith, looking him dead in the eyes and saying he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. Let's be real. If you heard someone say that, what would you think? NBA legends, analysts, former players, and sports executives laughed him out of the room. Fans turned him into a meme. And yet, with every insane claim, LaVar never blinked. Because in his mind, there was no doubt. His sons were destined for greatness. And if people thought he was crazy, fine. He'd rather be the crazy guy that believed than the quiet one who doubted. But here's where things get interesting. Because now, nearly a decade later, LaVar Ball might not sound so crazy after all. The Ball brothers' three sons. One mission. Lonzo, the eldest, the floor general, the leader, the one who was supposed to pave the way. LiAngelo, the middle child, the scorer, the sharpshooter, the one who never quite fit the mold. And LaMelo, the youngest, the flashiest, the wildest, the one who nobody could figure out. Together, they weren't just three brothers. They were a phenomenon. At Chino Hills High School, they didn't play basketball. They rewrote it. Full court passes, insane shooting range, highlight plays that looked like something straight out of a video game. People didn't know whether to call it genius or chaos. But one thing was for sure, it worked. They destroyed teams, took over national headlines, became social media sensations before they were even adults. And right there, front and center, was LaVar Ball, telling the world that this was just the beginning. His sons weren't just high school stars. They weren't just college-bound prospects. They were the future of basketball. The only question was he right? LaVar's wild predictions. Was he delusional? Now, confidence is one thing, but the things LaVar Ball said, they were on a whole different level. He wasn't just hyping up his sons, he was putting them on pedestals so high that it almost felt unfair. Lonzo, he said, was better than Steph Curry. LaMelo, a future NBA superstar before he even turned 18. All three brothers, destined for the league. And himself? He swore he could take down Michael Jordan in a one-on-one. Yeah, that actually happened. Sitting across from Stephen A. Smith on First Take, LaVar said, without a single ounce of hesitation, that he would beat the GOAT in his prime. Stephen A. lost his mind. The internet had a field day. And Nike's marketing director? He called LaVar Ball the worst thing to happen to basketball in the last 100 years. But did LaVar care? Nope. Because in his mind, he wasn't just talking. He was manifesting. He believed so strongly in his vision that he didn't care how crazy it sounded. And here's where it gets interesting. Because when you look at how things played out, maybe, just maybe, he wasn't as delusional as people thought. Lonzo Ball. If LaVar Ball was all talk, Lonzo Ball was supposed to be the proof. The firstborn. The golden child. The one who would step into the NBA and immediately show the world that LaVar wasn't just running his mouth. He was telling the truth. And for a while, that's exactly what it looked like. In high school, Lonzo was a force, a 5-star recruit, the best player on an undefeated team. the kind of passer that made scouts drool. Then came UCLA. 1 season. That's all it took. Lonzo turned a 15-17 team into a national powerhouse. The Bruins went 31-5. His passing was elite. His vision was next level. And just like that, he was a top NBA prospect. Draft night came. The Los Angeles Lakers had the 2nd overall pick, and Magic Johnson himself looked Lonzo in the eyes and told him, "This is your team now." It was perfect. Lonzo was stepping into one of the biggest franchises in basketball. His dad was getting exactly what he wanted. The hype was unreal. And then, his first game happened. Patrick Beverley, one of the most aggressive defenders in the league, a veteran bulldog who lives for ruining rookie debuts. And that's exactly what he did. From the opening tip, Beverley was all over Lonzo, pushing him, trash-talking him, getting in his head. By the end of the game, Lonzo looked rattled. The hype train had taken its first hit. And unfortunately, that was only the beginning. The problem wasn't just the pressure. It was Lonzo's body. Knee injuries, ankle issues, missed games. Every time he found a rhythm, something else would go wrong. Then came LeBron. When LeBron James joined the Lakers, everything changed. The team wasn't focused on building anymore. They were trying to win now. And just like that, Lonzo was no longer the face of the franchise. In 2019, he was traded to New Orleans. A fresh start. Less pressure. A chance to rebuild. And for a while it worked. Lonzo evolved, became a better defender, developed a more consistent shot. He wasn't the next Magic Johnson, but he was a solid NBA player. Then he was traded again, this time to the Chicago Bulls. LiAngelo Ball, and then there's LiAngelo, the one who never quite lived up to the Ball family hype. A solid scorer in high school, but not a 5-star recruit like Lonzo or LaMelo. He got his chance at UCLA, but then the infamous shoplifting incident in China. That mistake cost him everything. He got kicked off the team, went undrafted, bounced around from overseas leagues to G League teams. But now? He's making waves, not in basketball, but in music. His song, Tweaker, blew up. And suddenly, LiAngelo had a whole new path in front of him. Looking back, maybe we all owe LaVar an apology. Did his sons become the greatest of all time? But did they all make a name for themselves? Absolutely. Lonzo, a respected NBA point guard. LaMelo, a rising superstar. LiAngelo, carving out a new lane in music. LaVar Ball might have sounded crazy in 2016, but in 2024, he went 3 for 3. So maybe, just maybe, he wasn't so crazy after all. And if there's one thing we know for sure, it's this: LaVar Ball will never let us forget it.